You are a winner who built a business most people only dream about. From the outside, it looks insane to be unhappy, but from the inside, you feel something closer to resentment toward your own success because it took the only thing you can't replace, and that is your time, your presence, your mental quiet. So, is this the price of success, as they call it, or is it a design problem you can solve? Well, I happen to have experienced this firsthand, and I do believe that it's a design problem. So, in this video, I'm gonna share with you the one design concept that stops your business from constantly pulling you back in unnecessarily. And I'm gonna share 5 hidden signals that expose exactly where your business is forcing unnecessary interventions. And with those, I'm gonna share case examples from my personal experience on how these rules and concepts helped me collapse a 50-40 hour workload into roughly 12. But first, let me share with you a quick story. So, back in 2023, I was running a solo automation business. I was helping other businesses automate while I was drowning myself. Every day was chaos, and I never had a clear next step. I would just do this, do that, redo that, fix that. It was just all over the place. And underneath it all, there was always this low level anxiety that if I missed one detail, one clarification, I would nuke a client's experience. So I stayed glued to my work. I had my laptop everywhere, my phone at dinner, in bed, and I always delayed the solution by telling myself this lie that I will fix this later, after this client, after this week. But that week never ended. And slowly, without realizing it, the business stopped growing because I went months and months on end without posting content, without building a pipeline of leads, and I was solely relying on inbound from past wins, referrals, and other forms of generating leads that aren't active. And my days were just endless hours of delivery until one day the business stalled, leads stopped, and that's when I felt exhausted because I was putting in enormous amount of time trying to revive the brand and the business, but nothing came out of it. And then I was hit with the realization that the "I'll fix it later" was the start of the collapse. And if I had done something about it, the outcome would have been different. So, when I started my next business, I decided that I would do things differently. And I had set out to build systems to serve only two goals, that is, to improve the customer experience and improve my quality of life. Nothing else, no, not growth, not ego, not scale. And based on that, every week I documented friction and I rebuilt systems and automations around these exact points. And month by month, my hours dropped, my stress dropped, and my dependency disappeared. By month 4, the business ran about 10 to 12 hours a week, and it was mostly focused on customer success, getting testimonials, and just killer marketing. For the first time in my life, nothing broke when I stepped away. Now, tell me if you have experienced this. You've had a long day, your mind is tired, your body is tired, and you're crawling to bed. Perfect cold pillow, warm blanket, and your mind is powering down. You're very happy and comfortable. Then all of a sudden, some idiot walks in the room and they turn the lights on. That's annoying, but we're adults, so you go tell them, bro, lights, and they turn it back off. Whatever, you go back to sleep. Now, imagine if that same idiot walked in again 5 minutes later and again and again all night. And every time that happened, you had to wake up and realize what's happening. Say something, wait, and then resettle and then try to go back into bed and to sleep. How well do you think you're sleeping that night? Well, That's what running a business that depends on you all the time feels like. You're never fully off, never fully resting, never fully working. And you don't feel the resentment and the tiredness because you're working too much. You feel it because the business keeps flipping the lights on you when it's not supposed to. Unfortunately, this is how most businesses are built. You have your business has tasks, and then you have your life. Then there is you stuck in the middle, and some of those tasks depend on you. Now, here's what not to build. You don't want to build assistants that so heavily reliant on you, especially in the middle, that you always keep switching between business, life. This ensures that you're never fully working and never fully resting. And that trap requires a constant presence in the business for it to run and function. Here is what to build instead: one decision, not 50 interruptions. What you want is to only step in when all inputs are ready, when all context is clarified, and it's only your judgment, your expertise that is required. Ideally, you're at the end of a process and you engage decisively and then disconnect cleanly. So your mind is never fully working, that something is going to break in the business if you're not there. And that's exactly how you get deep work, you get more presence in life, in the things you love, and you get more freedom. Now, I know what some of you are gonna say. Yeah, Tariq, this is cool in an illustration and all, but that's not how real life works. Grow up. First of all, that's insulting. Grow up. Don't these balding marks tell that I'm already growing dog years? Secondly, you're half right, because these problems don't show up as obvious disasters. They feel part of the normal day to day, and they hide in the dark back rooms of your business, and you can only see them when you shine a light on them. So instead of abstract diagrams, I'm gonna share 5 signals that can help you uncover these problems in your business to finally be able to solve them. So if you notice them in the next 7 days, write them down. Number 1 is where sales wait on you. And why that matters is because you want the sales to keep flowing without your presence in the business 24/7. And these issues arise in places in your buying flow where customers need constant hand holding, and that creates a pressure to be online all the time. For example, in my last business, because I was working in a different market, the only payment option was through bank transfer, which is a lot of friction for a SaaS business. And to add to that pain, my customers were non-technical. So even with clear instructions on screen with the payment details and the options, they wouldn't know how to buy the software. So they would drop me DMs and questions, and I would have to clarify every single step. And sometimes I would miss on sales because of that, because I would be asleep or like done for a few hours. So what I did is that I redesigned my buying flow, and I broke down the payment details to a very granular level that even a 5-year-old can understand it. So, for example, the bank number, my customers did not know how to copy it, even though there was this like icon where to click and copy it. So instead of that, I added to it a clear text: press on this to copy the IBAN. And because I solved for all these granular problems, the sales start flowing even without me present all the time. Number 2 is where customers get stuck repeatedly and ask you the same questions again and again. And why you want to solve that is because you want self-guided progress. And if for any reason you make your processes confusing to customers, that's gonna create questions, anxiety, and it's gonna flood your inbox with DMs from customers and potential customers. For example, onboarding in my last business in the micro-SaaS was very confusing to a non-technical customer base. So what I did is that I collapsed a big onboarding process with multi-steps into a single interface with only a few buttons to click and with clear naming and clear instruction to make it super easy to follow. The third thing that you want to solve is what you track in your head, because what owns your mind owns your attention. In my case, in my last business, subscriptions and reminders were scattered through different channels and different tools because my customers had to follow specific Telegram channels in order to get notifications for different types of products. And I had to jump between these channels and these subscriptions and the dashboards and the database, and it was all over the place. So what I did is that I looked at this process to see if there is anything that I could do systemically to fix how this process runs, but there was nothing to do there. I wrote scripts and automations to make these bots handle the heavy workload on my behalf. Signal number 4 is inspired by my failed business story, and it is to look where next steps are unclear. And you want that because if you have clear steps, you're gonna have less stress and less anxiety, and you're gonna have higher quality. And where you can find this, especially in delivery, is where a process feels heavy. It means that it still lives in your head. And what you want instead is to turn your experience into instructions, clear inputs, clear steps, and predictable outputs. And as a bonus, these systems can become assets you can resell, you can market, and they give you an overall edge in the market. If you look at the top dogs in their fields, you're gonna see that they have this ability to turn their experience into systems and instructions that they can teach to others. For example, we have Jeremy Miner with his NAPQ sales framework, you have Donald Miller with his story brand framework, and so on and so forth. And the thing that makes them shine is their ability to turn their experience, what lives in their head, into clear systems that other people can follow. Number 5 is every task that follows you to dinner and can't leave your head after work. And why that matters is because burnout doesn't come from the work you do during your work hours. It comes from the unfinished loops that doesn't allow your brain to shut off and rest. So always be aware of the things that follow you home, the things that don't leave your mind even while you are trying to sleep. For me, in my last business, it was worrying whether the software is online 24/7. And that was because the automations that I would run would face trouble with the website I was monitoring. And that would cause embarrassment with my customers and it would hurt my reputation. So what I did is I built fail-safe systems that would automatically restart everything in seconds without me having to be online 24/7 monitoring dashboards. Now, here is the core shift of this video. What you need is to design systems that reduce thinking and not just clicks. And this is where many people fall into this trap where they see many AI high tools, N8N, Zapier, Cloudbot, ChatGPT, etc., etc. And what they do is they just engage in this AI sorcery stuff, and they find that it doesn't help most of the time. And more times than not, it gets them into more trouble because now they have to manage these automations and these softwares that they bought, and it's a whole mess. And this is coming from someone who has big interest in selling you automations, but that's not how it's supposed to be done. There has to be a more strategic approach to do all of this. Your first goal is to reduce what happens here, because if everything stays the same and your mind here is clear and it's not burned out all the time, everything is good. Number 2 and 3 is you want to maximize what flows without you, and ideally push your involvement as downstream as possible. And those two matter because they make you live your life and be rest assured that you're not a bottleneck and there's nothing clogged in the business when you're not there. And most importantly, if you achieve all of these, you only engage when leverage is highest. And lastly, you don't need a new business, you just need to enjoy the one you already built.